Compound interest. That should generate some interest. So that's our topic for today, compound interest. Percentages is our heading, compound interest. Keywords, dates in Welsh. Off you go. Hit pause. Make your notes. When you're ready, hit play again. Okay, so we move on then. Move on to our starter. There you go. So hit pause. When you're ready to go through the starter with me, hit play again. Okay, let's go through the through your solutions. Order -5, -2, 3, 0, -3 and 1. I'm going to order them in ascending order, smallest to biggest, ascending. So the smallest number we've got there is -5, followed by, let's cross that out, followed by -3, then -2, 0, 1, then 3. Question number 2. Cost of hiring a plumber is given by this formula, and it's C is equal to the number of hours, N times 15 plus £25. What's the cost for 3 hours work? So for 3 hours, C is going to be equal to 3 times 15 plus 25, which is equal to 45 plus 25. So when we add those together, we get £75. For part B, how many hours gives a cost of £100? Again, with the same formula, C equals N times 15 plus 25, but this time we know the cost is 100. We don't know what N is, plus 25. So we do float and ping on the 25, take it over this side. So we got 100. Is plus 25 on this side, so it becomes a minus 25 on that side, is equal to N times 15. 75 equals N times 15. So that means that if we take the 15 down, the escalator under 75, N is going to be equal to 75 divided by 15, which is 5 hours. Number 3. This is a bread and butter question. Don't try and do it in your head. Always set it out. Set it out as a column addition, 1.5, 0.42. It's plus. We can put a 0 there to help us. 0 plus 2 is 2. 4 plus 5 is 9. Decimal point 1.92. Okay, we cannot afford to make mistakes on questions like that. Complete the statement. You need to know the conversion from imperial to metric. 5 miles is equal to 8 kilometers. So 15 miles, to go from 5 to 15, we've got to times it by 3. So we've got to times 8 by 3 to give us 24 kilometers. Question number 5. When it's midday in London, the time in Hong Kong is 2000 hours. J catches a flight from Heathrow in London at 700 hours, and the journey takes 8 hours and 20 minutes. What's the estimated arrival time in Hong Kong? Well, if he leaves at 700 hours, and it takes 8 hours and 20 minutes, then he's going to arrive at 1520, but that's still London time. Now if we look, when it's midday in London, it's 2000 hours in Hong Kong, so there's an 8 hour difference, so we have to add that 8 hours on, and when we add that on we get 20, which is the same thing as 11:20. Now if we're going to write it as 11:20, we can't forget to put PM. Either one of those is fine. And finally, 5x plus 5 equals 23. float and ping. Bubble around the 5, floats over the other side, so 5x is equal to 23 minus 5, which is 18. To get the x on its own, the 5 goes down the escalator under the 18, so this means that x is going to be equal to 18 divided by 5, and we know 5 goes into 18 3 times, remainder 3 over 5. So x is equal to 3 3/5. If you wrote 3.6, I'll take it. I prefer the decimal, but if you wrote 3.6, I'll take that. Good. What I want you to do now is hit pause, mark your work, correct your work. So anything that you got wrong, correct it in green. Make sure you write the solution out in full. Show all workings so that you remember it next time. Good. And we move on. Once you're ready, hit play again and we move on to the next part. So we move on. Compound interest. I don't know if you remember what compound interest is. We have tackled this before. And if we look at this graphic here, we've got a difference between simple interest and compound interest. Now, simple interest, if we've got £100 and we invest it at 10%, now if we were earning simple interest, we're going to be getting 10% of 100, which is £10 every year. So that original amount, we're just going to be getting 10% of that every year. So we get £10 in the first year, £10 in the second year, £10 in the third year. So we would have earned £30 over the 3 years. With compound interest, it's slightly different. So we earn interest on the original amount plus the interest. So after 1 year, we've earned £10, so it goes up to 110. Then we earn interest on that whole 110. So it'd be £11 plus that, gives us 121. And then we earn interest on the whole 121. So it grows faster. Now we're starting with a small sum, so there isn't that much of a difference. But you can imagine if you had, if you were investing, say, all the bank's money and you had £1 million, then suddenly the amount of interest you get when you invest compound is a lot more. So let's have a look at some examples of how we calculate compound interest. So we're looking at example 1. £2,000 invested at 6% for 3 years. Find the amount at the end of the period and the interest then. So if we look at this then, say after 1 year, we had £2,000 and we earned some interest, so 6% of the 2,000. So that's going to be equal to 2,000 plus, to find 6%, you do 6 divided by 100 times 2,000. If you plug that in our calculator, that's going to give us an amount of 2,000 plus 120, so that'll be £2,120 at the end of the first year. After the second year then, we take that 2,120 and we add 6% of that amount. So to find that, we've got 2,120 plus 6%, 6 over 100 times 2,120. So that's 2,120 plus £127.20 if you work it out, giving us a total of, this time, £2,247 and 20p. So it's growing quite fast. After 3 years, You've got that 2,247.2 plus 6% of that. That's going to be £2,247.20 plus 6%, 6 over 100 times 2247.2. And when we work this out, we get 2247.2 plus £134 on the calculator, 83, which is equal to £2,382 and 3 pence. So that's part A, the amount earned at the end of this period. I'm going to write it down here. Part A is 2382.03, and the interest earned is that amount there minus the original amount of 2,000. So that's 2382.03 minus £2,000. So that leaves us with £382 interest, which is quite nice. So we've earned that over the 3-year period. It's quite a long method, that's why it's called a long method. Okay, so make some notes of that. So hit pause, write your notes up, and when you're ready to move on, hit play again. Okay, so moving on, your turn now. I want you to have a go at this question. £600 invested at 5% for 3 years. Using the same method as before, find the amount in the account at the end of the period and the interest accrued. So hit pause, have a go. When you're ready to have a look at the solution, hit play again. Good. So we got that £600. At the end of the first year, we have to find 5% of 600 and add it on to the 600. So after 1 year, we got £600 plus 5% of that. If we put 5 over 100 times 600, we get 30. So you get £630 at the end of the first year. You take that 630 and you reinvest it. So after 2 years, you get 630 plus 5% of that. When we work it out, we get 630 plus £31.50 to give us a total of £661.50. Now we take that £661.50 and then we reinvest it for a 3rd year. So we take that amount, £661.50, and we add 5% onto that, and that gives us £694.58. So that's the amount at the end of the period. And to find the interest accrued, we take that amount and we subtract the original amount 600 from that, which gives us £94.58. So hopefully you've got those two answers. If not, and you need to make a correction, hit pause and do so now. When you're ready, move on to the next question. Okay, so moving on, I've got another question for you. And this time I've got £5,000. I've got to invest it at 8% for 4 years. So what I want you to do is hit pause, work it out for me, and when you're ready to look at the solution, hit play again. Okay, so after 1 year, we got that initial £5,000 plus 8% of the 5,000. Remember, percent means out of 100, so 8 over 100 times 5,000. We work it out. We get 8% is 400, so we get a total of 5,400. Take the 5,400, and after 2 years, we add another 8% of that amount, we should get £5,832. We take that 5,832 and reinvest it, and we find 8% of that 5,832, add it on, and we get £6,298.56. And we do one, because it's 4 years this time, not 3 years, we do one more calculation. Find 8% of the £6,298.56, and we get £6,802 because it's to the nearest pound. Okay, and the interest accrued then is that 6,802 take away the original 5,000, which gives us £1,802. Good. So hopefully you got that. If not, make your corrections now and then hit play to move on. Okay, so we move on. So what do you think? What problems would you have using that method with this question? £3,000 invested at 7% for 15 years. What do you think the problem would be with this question? You'd have to have 15 rows of calculations. Because it's 15 years, you have to repeat that calculation each time. It's going to take a very long time to work it out. Some people invest money for 30 years at a time. Okay, so we've got to have a different way of calculating, and we will use multipliers to help us. So if we use the original question we started with, we got £2,000 invested at 6% compound interest for 3 years. So we got an original amount of 2,000. So we got 2,000. We're going to multiply it by, if we were to increase it at 6%, it's 100% plus 6. So 100 plus 6 gives us 106%. Now, as a decimal, that's equal to 1.06 as a decimal. So we can multiply it by 1.06. Because it's 3 years, we're going to be multiplying by 1.06 3 times. Let's put it to the power of 3, and we work that out. So I want you to put that in your calculator now, work that out, and you should get 2,382 pounds and 3 pence, which is exactly what we got in our first question. It's much shorter, much more efficient way of working. Okay, so that's what we mean. We multiply it by 106%, but 3 times because it's 3 years. Okay, so let's have a look at another example. This is the example you worked through. This time I've got £600 invested at 5% for 3 years. So instead of using the long method, we're going to use that short method. So we've got our £600. I'm going to multiply it by the multiplier. Now it's 5%, so that's 100%, which we start with, plus that 5% gives us 105%. As a decimal, that's 1.05, so we multiply it by 1.05. But that's over 3 years, so we need to multiply by 1.05 3 times, so we put a 3 there. Plug it into your calculator, and you should get £694.58, exactly as before. Okay, if you haven't plugged into your calculator, do it now to check. What I want you to do is, underneath your previous answer, go and write this method down. Okay? So, pause, write that down. When you're ready, if you haven't got any space, you can just write it down now. And when you're ready to Move on to the next question, hit play again. So we're going to go over the second question you did as well. So I'm going to try this question using the much shorter method. So we've got £5,000 invested at 8% for 4 years. So let's do that. You got 4 years, so after 4 years, we will have £5,000 times 8%, so it's 100 plus 8 gives us 108%. As a decimal, because we divide it by 100, you get 1.08. So times 1.08, and the period is 4 years, so to the power of 4. So that's, when you plug it into your calculator, then you should get to the nearest pound. You should get exactly the same answer, 6,802. What I want you to do is make sure you can get that using your calculator. So make sure. Okay. Hit pause, write that example down. When you're ready to move on, hit play again. Okay, so 2 questions for you to attempt. Hit pause and off you go. When you're ready to go through them, hit play again. So question 3, we're investing £8,000 at 7% for 6 years. So after 6 years, we'll say we've got 8,000 times 7% compound, so it's 100 plus the 7, 107%. And as a decimal, 1.07. So that's 1.07 for 6 years to the power of 6. Plug that in a calculator. Oops, put an arrow here. Plug that into your calculator and it'll give you £12,006. Not a bad rate of return. So the nearest pound. That's part A. We've got to find part B, the interest accrued. So part B is going to be 12,006. Whoops, too many zeros there. Let's write that again. 12,006, take away 8,000. That gives us £4,006 interest. And question 4, if you haven't done it yet, hit pause, do it. And when you're ready, hit play again. And for question 4, you got 1,250 at 9% for 10 years. So that's after 10 years. You will have 1,250 times, it's 9%, so 1.09 as a decimal for over 10 years to the power of 10. Oops, this is part A, and that should give us 2,959. You should have that, 2,959 pounds. And for part B, you need to take that 1,250 away from 2,959, and that will give us 1,709 pounds. Good. If you need to make any corrections, hit pause, make them, and then move on. 2 more questions for you. So hit pause and have a go. Just note that it says to the nearest 100 pounds. Okay, when you're ready to view the solutions, hit play again. Off you go. And right, 3,750 at 4.5% for 8 years. Now, make sure you note that it's 4.5%. So after 8 years, we got 3,750 times is 100 plus 4.5. So that's 104.5. If we divide that by 100 as percent, then we get 1.045 as a decimal. So it's times 1.045 over 8 years. When we work it out to the nearest 100, we should get 5,300 pounds. Similarly here, it's for 15 years, a long time. We are going to take our 7,500, multiply it by 1.085, 15-year period, and that will give us 25,500 pounds. If you need to make any corrections, do so now. If not, then we carry on. Okay, some questions for you. Exercise 2H. First one is about baby octopus. So it starts off at 10 kilograms, that's the original. It increases by 5% each day for the first month, so 5%, and it's for 1 day. So that's the first question for you. So just as a hint on question 1, you would have 10 times 1.05, because it's only 1 day to the power of 1. So 10 times 1.05 to the power of 2 for 2 days, and so on. How many days in a week? So you got 1, 2, 3, and the questions go up to 11. So I shall attach the questions to the assignment as well. Good luck.